What's going on, people in YouTube land? Kimchi Chris here, and welcome to today's brand new video where we are going to talk about the KISS End of the Road 2020 tour. That's right, I saw it February 13th in Lexington, Kentucky. I put a vlog up about it last week about the experience and showing you guys some footage and whatnot, but I wanted to take a deep dive into the show as well as my thoughts on the David Lee Roth opening set and all kinds of stuff. So let's just dive right into this show. So if you follow the channel, you might know that I saw the End of the Road tour several times last year. I saw it 4 times. This was my 5th time seeing the tour. I just can't get enough of it, and I've had to kind of travel around to see it. For this one, it was about a 3-hour drive. Not too bad, and definitely worth it. And you know, going into this, I knew what to expect, but I knew there were going to be a few surprises. I knew David Lee Roth was there, and I was excited to get to see it because I'm not sure if I'm going to get to see it any other times this year, and who knows, this always could be my last time seeing KISS, so I definitely wanted to, you know, take advantage of a chance to get to see them, especially in a smaller arena. It was a smaller arena than anywhere I'd seen them on the last tour, or maybe ever. It was I don't know how many people that place holds, but it felt like 7,000, 8,000, I don't know, something like that. It also sold a little bit rough, so they did curtain off part of the top of the arena, but it was a cool experience to see them in a smaller space. But with all that being said, I do have to let you guys know about what happened to me as I was going into the show, because calamity came at me from every angle as I was trying to enter into the venue. So I pulled into my parking spot right across the street from the arena, and what's cool about Lexington is you can get $10 parking right across from the arena. You can't do that in Nashville. It's gonna be like $30, $40, $1 million, something like that. So I got $10 parking, it was great. And I pulled out my ticket, ready to go in, eager to see KISS, eager to seize the day, and I realized that I had the wrong ticket with me. But luckily it's 2020, and with technology and smartphones and apps and all that kind of stuff, you always have a receipt with you. So I had the receipt for my purchase on my Ticketmaster app, but nonetheless, it kind of went through my head that sometimes it's, you know, a whole mess to get them to reprint tickets because they might think you're a scalper or you're trying to pull one over on them. I completely understand this from the venue standpoint, but it's also very frustrating if you're an idiot like me and drive 3.5 hours just to leave your ticket at home and grab another ticket and bring it with you. So I had that on my mind as I was running out of my car through a crosswalk because it was freezing out, and at that point I dropped my camera. Not the camera I'm filming this with, but I have a separate photo camera I bring to shows, and I dropped it, and I thought that I broke it because it wouldn't turn on no matter what I did. Turns out, somehow with the dropping it, the batteries got jammed, and I was able to fix it when I got home, but nonetheless at that point I thought, well, there it is, I've got to buy a new camera. That's really awful. I don't know if my ticket's gonna work. It was a stressful little bit there, and I mean, I know it's all first world problems, things could be a lot worse, but it wasn't a great moment, and it was really cold out, so I just took the camera back to the car. You know, I basically said, you know, I don't even want to carry this thing around if it's not gonna work. Got to the ticket booth, they reprinted the ticket, they were very polite at the arena, which was really cool, and everything seemed okay. It seemed great at that point. And as great as it was, I of course had to have one more thing happen, so I made my way into the arena, and I sat in my seat that I thought was my seat that the usher showed me because I had never been there before, and turns out he had set me in the wrong rows, the correct section, but he had me 5 rows back further than where I was supposed to be. I'm so glad that some guys came in about midway through David Lee Roth's set and said, "You're in our seats," because I thought that they were the crazy ones, but it turns out I actually was supposed to be 5 rows closer than where I was set. So thanks guys, if you somehow see this review that, you know, help me get to the right spot. I would have gave you a business card if it wasn't during David Lee's set there, because I didn't want to try to talk when all the righteous rock was coming from the stage, but thanks guys for doing that. You got me where I should be. And as a result, that's a very good segue. So David Lee Roth came out and he played. And we've all been seeing the videos online. We've all heard people talking, you know, he hasn't sounded great, he hasn't looked great, it just has not been a good situation, has not been represented well, even though I am a fond believer that sometimes these cheap phone videos and things of that nature are not great, but sometimes they are an accurate representation. So I was going into it excited to see a member of Van Halen in person, since I've never seen one in person, but I was also hesitant to be too excited. I was just there for the ride. I figured I'm seeing my favorite band ever anyway, so as long as he's, you know, acceptable, it's fine. And that's kind of what I got exactly. The set was good. I would not necessarily write him off with these videos and things that are on YouTube. His vocals, they didn't sound great, but they didn't sound as bad in person either. I don't know if it's that they were, you know, trying to drown him out with the music. I don't know if he's maybe just getting better as he's getting a little bit more warmed up, because that first night in Vegas, those videos, they were definitely rough, but even the following nights in Vegas, he sounded a little better in those videos. I mean, he's not what he used to be by any means, and the backing band is doing a lot, and I mean a lot, of the heavy lifting with the set. They sound phenomenal. They're doing some great great backup vocals and harmonies, and there might be some piped in vocals as we've talked about, but nonetheless the band is doing a lot of the heavy lifting in general. But overall he sounds okay, and he's energetic and fun and having a good time. The only time he really sounded really bad was during Running with the Devil. Those parts in the chorus where he kind of just does the high-pitched screams that are really cool on the recording, but they sound bad in 2020. He just does not need to do those screams. If you're gonna do the song, that's great. It's a great song, but I don't know. You know, have one of your band guys do it, or just don't do the screams. You know, it's fine either way. And out of the set, there were two things that were definitely worth noting as well that I noticed I have not heard anyone else talk about, but one of them to me was extremely entertaining, and one of them to me was extremely cringeworthy and just a little bit creepy. The cool one was that he had a mixed drink on stage. It looked like it was a Jack and Coke or something like that, and every time he'd take a drink, he got really excited. He'd take it, kind of look around, he'd smile, and then he'd give a thumbs up to the crowd every time. It was like he was drinking alcohol for the first time. He was very pleased with the drink. His bartender was good. So that was really entertaining and a little bit endearing. And then the creepy thing he did is he kept grabbing his crotch. And I don't mean he would just kind of like grab it and let go like Michael Jackson. He would just kind of like grab it and like caress it for a little bit. And he would kind of pelvic thrust into the camera when he saw the camera guy around and things of that nature. So you had this just giant video scream of David Lee Roth's crotch just coming at you while he's caressing it. And it was weird. It was very strange. I felt a little bit uncomfortable. I'm sure if I was a girl, I would have felt even more uncomfortable. Why is granddad rock star on stage touching himself is what I would have thought. But nonetheless, I don't know, it kind of fits, I suppose. It was creepy. It was weird, but it kind of fit with his current persona. But with all that being said, as stated earlier, his set was entertaining. It was a good opening set. He very much came off as an opening act, but it was good. It was 40 minutes long. He didn't really talk to the crowd. They just went through the hits and got off the stage, and you know, it was a good time. I definitely enjoyed it. And of course, when Diamond Dave was done, it was time for the headliners of the night. It was time for the hottest band in the land. It was time for Kiss. And even though I've seen this show 5 times, I would say it's worth seeing 5 times if you're a hardcore fan. If you're just a casual fan, seeing it once, twice, you know, whatever, that's perfectly acceptable. But you know, if you're a hardcore fan and you're on the fence about going to see them this year as they're coming, you know, back through your area or relatively close, I'd recommend seeing it again. Sure, it's a similar show, but it was just as phenomenal as ever. The introduction where they come down from the ceiling, the pyro, the explosion, the songs, everything was great. And of course they have a few new songs in the set, and I'd say Parasite went over extremely well in my opinion. I think it's a great song. The audience didn't seem to know it quite as much as some of the other songs, but I love Parasite so much that I'm just really happy it's in there. It's always been a good song to have in the set with Kiss, with Ace, you know. I just say put it in every Kiss related set. Just keep it there. Parasite should be a mainstay, along with She. They need to bring She out if they're going to do Parasite, because they're kind of like partner songs a lot of the time. So, you know, great to see Parasite in the set. Tears Are Falling, on the other hand, even though I was excited to see it there, I didn't think it went over that well. The audience didn't seem to react to it that much with the down tuning for their current age and vocal abilities. I didn't think it sounded quite as good as it used to, but it was still cool to have something new in there. I just didn't think it went over extremely well. And the other new-ish song, depending when you saw them last year versus when you saw them this year, was, of course, Crazy Crazy Nights. I thought it went over really well. It was replacing Do You Love Me in the set, which was always kind of a weird placement being in the encore, and I think this one fits a little bit better. The crowd definitely reacted to it very strongly, and it was a really cool thing to have near the end, helping wrap up the night. And while we're on the set list, I'm still surprised that Say Yeah is in there. I know that they want something to represent the current lineup that's on stage, and that's the only song doing it, but I've always thought it's kind of a weak song. I know a lot of people say it's easy to sing along to, the crowd can react to it even if they don't know the album, but I don't know. I like Modern Day Delilah better, or Hell or Hallelujah if they're going to do one of the big songs off of those records, but it's still there, still chugging along, and the crowd didn't seem to react to it that much, so I'm a little bit surprised it's still there. But you know, if they're going to do it, it's good to have something to represent the current lineup. I just think that they could pick a different song to represent that lineup. But of course it wouldn't be a Kiss show without the show aspect of it, and that really hasn't changed a whole lot since last year. It does seem like the show itself was a little bit smaller this time in some ways because it was a smaller arena. They have less pods on stage. I've heard people saying, I don't know, I don't count that stuff, but they have the pods, they have the pyro, they have the blood, the fire, the flying. They have all the stuff that you know about Kiss and you love about Kiss. And one thing that was really cool about this specific show was seeing it in a smaller arena, so the big parts felt a whole lot bigger. For example, the part where Tommy and Gene kind of fly over the audience at the end, they felt like they were right above me when they kind of crossed back over, and same thing when Paul was flying out, felt like it was right over you. You know, the explosions, you could feel them a lot more in the audience, I felt, at this show than some of the others. I mean, it was hot in there. It was a hot night for rock and roll, as Paul Stanley would say himself. And, you know, as a result, if this is coming to your town and it is a small arena like that, it's really cool. The big parts just felt massive at this show. Just, it was all encompassing. It just felt like they were taking over the whole place, even more so than normal, because, you know, the show, even when it's dumbed down a little for a smaller space, it's still a big show. And a lot of the parts that were highlights at the previous shows are still the highlights of this show. The multi-genes all over the pods and video screens during God of Thunder is still an amazing visual effect. Of course, again, like I just said, them flying all over the place at the end and Paul in the middle and everything, still a great time. The way they're doing Beth with the piano rising up from the middle of the stage is still really cool. I know some people have not loved that. I've thought it's been great every time. And yeah, so it was a really good show. This was one of the best ones I've seen on the End of the Road. I mean, they've all been great. There's never a bad Kiss show because they're my favorite band. I'm biased. I'm not going to have a bad time there. But even objectively speaking, I heard some people as I'm leaving and around me and things of that nature saying, you know, that was a great show. I'm glad I finally got to see Kiss. And it's just phenomenal to think that in 2020, some people that want to see Kiss are seeing them for the first time. And in some cases, it's people that are like 30, 40, 50, you know, not just these 10-year-olds or 16-year-olds that are wanting to see them for the first time with their parents, because, you know, they're there, but they're not there in droves. It's more people, I'd say, you know, 30 years plus, and some of them are seeing the band for the first time, so it's wonderful that they're out there. It's wonderful they're doing some more shows, and I encourage and implore you to go see the band. If they're coming to your area, go see the show. And I think that summarizes it better than anything. Go see the show. If you throw your inhibitions out the door, if you know, check your brain at the door, this is Kiss. It's supposed to be fun. It's not a political statement, and who cares how the sounds are coming out? Who cares about the vocals and things of that nature? It's gonna be a good time. You're gonna experience Kiss, and you gotta do it while you can, you know? I mean, I don't know that the last show will actually be next year. I have a hard time believing that because they're already starting to backpedal a little bit in interviews, but nonetheless, see them while it's easy to see them, because it's not gonna last forever. And you know, even if they continue the band past next year, eventually one of these guys is gonna pass away, and that's gonna be a sad day, but nonetheless, go see them while you can see them. It's gonna be a great time. But that's enough from me. What do you guys think? Have you seen the show yet? Did you see it last year? Are you seeing it this year? Let me know in the comments below. Maybe you were even at the Lexington show. Let me know that in the comments below as well. And if you are new around here, hit that subscribe button, because I'm always putting out cool videos. Hit the little alarm, the little bell, the little ding ding so you actually get the updates. Give this video a thumbs up. Once again, my name is Kimchi Chris, and I will see you guys on the next video.